Hello everybody, and welcome back to our History of Rome series. And today we're going to talk about the Roman conquest of Italy, and this is just the first part because we're not going to get to the Pyrrhic War today, but we're going to get to the Samnite Wars, the Latin War, and all that. Now, first we have to look at the Italian peninsula's political situation at this time, which was made up of a bunch of different states. Now, to the south were the Greek colonies, such as Tarentum and the Heraclea, Brundisium. They were all Greek colonies. And we have Rome basically on the coast of central Italy over here. To the north of Rome, we have different peoples like the Etruscans, the Umbrii, the Sabines. And then further north, we have Gauls. And then southeast of Rome, we have the Samnites, and then we also have the Latin city-states on Rome's doorstep that were quite rebellious. And then further off, we have different peoples like Illyrians and Carthaginians, but they're not relevant for now. And the Roman-Samnite Relations. The Samnites were a coalition of Italian peoples living south of Rome's borders. They were Oscan. And before the First Samnite War, Rome and the Samnites actually had a treaty of an alliance. And unfortunately, however, this alliance with the Samnites wouldn't last because the Romans also had another alliance with the city-state of Capua in the region of Campania, right on Samnium's doorstep. And what happened was the Samnites encroached and raided into Campanian territory that was currently also being Romanized. So that sparked the First Samnite War in 343 BC due to the Samnite incursions into what Rome believed were its mutual allies. Now, the First Samnite War actually went well for the Romans, as the Roman consuls Marcus Valerius Corvus sent aid to the Campanians, while Cornelius Arvina invaded the Samnite territory, and Valerius had clashes with Samnite armies and lifted the Samnite siege of Capua at the Battle of Mount Garus. And Arvina, on the other hand, advanced into a Samnite trap in a narrow valley, but was saved by a tribune named Decius Mus. And Decius Mus basically led part of the Roman army into a high peak overlooking the valley, and that allowed the main Roman army to escape because the Samnite forces got confused, and which gave the Romans time to escape. Now, the Samnites were defeated in battle once more by the Romans after this near ambush, but the Samnites were actually pretty adept at raising new forces to replace their old ones. But Valerius manages to defeat the Samnites a second time in battle, and a treaty was signed to end this war after the Samnites got defeated, and the Samnites had to pay a war indemnity of 1 year's worth of army pay for the Romans. Now, this would not be the end of hostilities towards the Samnites, as we shall see. Now, going down here, we have the Latin War. Now, after the First Samnite War, the Romans acquired the Campanian lands surrounding the city of Capua, and Campania is good to note that they were made up of a number of different tribes of Italian peoples, as well as city-states, and besides that, the Latin city-states near Rome were also under the suzerainty of the Roman Republic, and they were basically adherents to them. But after the First Samnite War, and even before then, the Latin city-states were beginning to feel threatened from the Roman expansionism, and they became less afraid of their neighbors, like the Etruscans and the Umbri and the Samnites, and more afraid of Rome, which was beginning to flex its dominance in the local region. And they were planning a rebellion, but after the news of the Samnites getting defeated in the First Samnite War reached them, they delayed their rebellion and instead attacked the Samnites. and the Campanian peoples who were attacked by the Samnites before also joined in, despite Rome having an official treaty with them. Now, because Rome had a treaty with them, the Samnites at least, they asked their Latin and Campanian adherents to honor the treaty, and in turn, the Latins and Campanians actually turned against Rome in a rebellion, and Rome's enemies, such as the Volsci, the Sidicini, and the Aurunci, sensing that the Romans would be attacked on all sides, also joined in. But what happened was Rome had an unexpected alliance with the Samnites, and during the war, the combined strength of Rome and Samnium managed to crush the weaker Italian city-states and Campanians, and Rome was also able to drive out the Volsci and those other different Italic peoples that tried to invade. And Rome now controlled the western coast of central Italy after it now annexed the Latin city-states and Campania officially into their lands. Now, this wouldn't be the end, though, as the Second Samnite War would erupt, because Rome and Samnium were two highly expansionist states in Italy, and the Samnites had a desire to conquer and expand into central Italy, while the Romans wanted to expand southeast in order to gain territory there, which led to hostilities, of course, especially when the Romans took and established colonies that were in what the Samnites considered their land. And to retaliate, the Samnites seized control of Neapolis, which was a port city along the western coast of Italy, and Neapolis appealed for Rome for military assistance, and Rome agreed, and the Second Samnite War began. And this war would drag on without any side achieving a decisive blow on the other for some time. However, the Samnites would defeat the Romans in a humiliating battle at the Caudine Forks, and this battle humiliated greatly the Roman Republic, but to say that was the end was not. It was not the end, because Rome learned from their setbacks at the Battle of the Caudine Forks and decided to better supply and train their troops. So the Romans built their first navy to defend the coastlines, and also built a network of roads to supply the army. And to make up for all those manpower losses, especially after the Caudine Forks, Roman conscription increased, and the Romans once again went on the offensive and established more colonies as they continued conquering land within Samnium. And over time, the Samnites became landlocked because their coastal territory fell into Roman hands, and the war ended when the Romans captured the capital of the Samnites at Bovineum. Now, the Samnites were completely landlocked and vulnerable on all sides now, so the Samnites were pretty much desperate in order just to survive. So then they allied themselves and created a coalition with the Etruscans, the Umbrians, and the Gauls, to then all the way up north. And these other states were also pretty worried about Roman expansionism as well, especially the Etruscans, who were right on Rome's doorstep to the north. Now, the whole coalition declared war on the Romans, and though the Romans were formidable, they were now surrounded. And this would be the Samnites' last hope for survival, is winning this war. Now, this war, they call the Third Samnite War, basically came to a head at the Battle of Sentinum, and the Roman consul Fabius Maximus ordered his propraetors Fulvius and Megellus to attack the Etruscan territory, because this would cause the Etruscans to be forced out of the offensive, and they would have to return to basically defend their homeland against an invading Roman force. and Fabius and Decius Mus decided to offer battle against the Gallic Samnite army now at Sentinum. And the Romans did not fight like hoplites anymore, it is worth noting. Initially, Rome's early forces fought in the Greek hoplite style of warfare, but now they changed it to the maniple system, which was much more flexible than the hoplites. And Fabius, initially in the course of the battle, restrained his troops from attacking the Samnite Gallic lines, but Decius attacked the Gallic horsemen with his cavalry force, and the Gallic horse were actually pushed back and suffered losses, but the Gauls were also, since they were Celts, they had training in the use of chariots, and the chariots counterattacked, which caused the Roman cavalry to panic and flee. But Decius did not flee, and he basically fought what we call a ritual battle to the death. It's a custom that the Romans did. And Livius, his pontifex, also died fighting this. And his deed, basically, even though he died, it actually made the Romans, increase the Roman morale because of his ritual deed. And the Romans were now eager to retrieve his body, and Fabius knew that this was an advantage. He also had reserve auxiliary units, and he used some of them to attack the weakened Samnite right wing, which was buckling under the pressure and tired, with fatigue as well. And then Fabius sent his Campanian cavalry and attacked the Gauls in their flank, and to prevent the Samnite cavalry from counterattacking and outflanking the Romans, he moved all his reserves into the battle and surrounded the enemy lines, and which caused them to break under the pressure, and the Romans had won. And any hopes of Samnite resistance was crushed, as we see in the aftermath here. The Romans would eventually go on to conquer all the Samnite territory after dealing with a couple more campaigns. They also conquered the Umbrians and the Etruscans, and eventually all of central Italy was under their control, as you see in this brilliant map done by Dovahati. And the Gauls to the north in the Cisalpine region were still independent, and the Greek city-states, the colonies to the south, which had not taken part in any of this so far, were also still independent. But, as the history will tell you, the next episode will obviously be about Rome's conflicts with Greek city-states and the rise and fall of Pyrrhus of Epirus, Rome's first, you should say, Rome's first major enemy.